Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome into This is MLS. I'm your host, Kaylin Kyle. And Doyle, can I just say something? You are having a handsome day, my friend. That graphic before we came in, how many takes? Because you're a 10 out of 10 in it. It's like that cheeky smile, like I'm here.
I roll out of bed like that, Kay. No effort at all. Easiest thing in the world.
Okay, no love for the Kaylin community? I mean, what's up?
Kaylin, just wait. All right, here we go. Okay. Now jumping over to Kaylin. The best Kaylin at Major League Soccer with the best hair at Major League Soccer. Doyle, I'm not taking a dig at you, but he really truthfully does have the best hair at Major League Soccer. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. It's been how do we put this? An interesting week in the international window. I don't know if either of you slept. I know obviously you guys are both American. My Canadian side of me, I slept brilliantly. Obviously, I'm a big Mauricio Pochettino fan, but the U.S. men's national team, a 4-0 thrashing Switzerland put on against them last night. So Doyle, there's been a lot of on-field, off-field stuff. Yes, there's main players that aren't in. You have a lot of, young and up-and-comers that could potentially crack into that lineup. But then you have the performance in which you had last night. You have dads tweeting, AI chatting. There's just so much to digest here. So let's start with you. Where do you want to go? Take it away.
I mean, it feels like we're a real soccer country finally, right? We have moms blackmailing after the World Cup. Now we got dads tweeting. The team's falling all over themselves. Nobody can put together a decent performance. It's like everything you want from a disaster of a soccer country. I feel good. I've been here almost half a century, and this is what I wanted the U.S. men's national team to be. Giving me actually 1998 flashbacks, the last time it felt like this much of an off-field disaster. And then, of course, that was mirrored by that first half last night, which was maybe the worst half of soccer I've ever seen the U.S. team play. Great times. I'm glad you slept well, Kaylin.
I'm sorry.
Doyle bringing a positive vibe to the group today. No.
Yeah, that was so positive, Doyle. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't enjoy this, then you just can't enjoy the drama of sports. No, I mean, I'm furious. We're all furious, right?
Yeah, I went to a bar down the street, and I told my wife she was running late, and she's like, "Hey, I'll come meet you." And by the time she showed up, it was 4-0, and I was sitting there and she's like, "Why do you keep doing this? You keep expecting it to change." And I'm like, man, the start to the match, the way that we came out, honestly, the setup, I didn't even know really what, but it was over before we started. It almost seemed like we sat back and absorbed pressure and asked Switzerland if they could figure it out. And they said, sure, yeah, no problem. I mean, the way they came out in Ndoye, Bolo, Mansambi, we didn't apply any pressure. We sat back and allowed them time and space. And before it was over, before it had started, really, it was over. And so it's just, once again, big questions. And it's almost like I don't even really know what the plan is or what U.S. men's national team, how we're even supposed to play at this point.
Is this more, would you guys say, come down to coaching and tactics? Because this is one of those conversations that, national teams always have when they are on the coaching hunt is, any national team that's won a World Cup, the coach has always been based from that country. Now, yes, the U.S. is almost that new soccer culture, like you just alluded to, Doyle, where we're starting to build something here. You're starting to see it at FC Cincinnati on a Wednesday. You're starting to see it at LAFC, LA Galaxy, fans really invested within the clubs. But what's the biggest issue? Is the biggest issue that you don't have Captain America choosing not to come in? This was my biggest thing. Sorry, I'm going to roll myself in here because I woke up this morning and I always am have my cup of coffee. I'm sitting outside. It's finally sunny here in New Jersey. And I'm scrolling through Instagram and you have Christian Pulisic that's posted. I forget the caption. It was something this is well deserved, but it was a picture of his family, which is amazing. But he's posted it on game day where you should be there with your national team. You're Captain America. I always put myself in the mindset of, would Christine Sinclair do this? Not in a million years. And maybe it's different in the women's side, but if I'm injured, I am texting my coach to be can I please come in and do rehabilitation with the group? Can I just travel with the group, especially if you're a year out of the World Cup, because you want to set that culture on and off the pitch. You want to, build a legacy because you do have the players to do so here. Are you guys nervous that you have a home World Cup as well. I've played in a home World Cup. I've played in away in Germany as well. And it's a different beast at home World Cup. There's way more pressure. There's way more eyes on you. There's way more media attention. Like, how are you guys feeling right now?
I mean, it's hard to be nervous when you're dead inside. And that's the point that I think U.S. national team fans have reached over the past 18 months. Because, look, I thought Greg Berhalter did a great job in that first cycle. I thought it was a mistake to bring him in for a second cycle. And I was for the Mauricio Pochettino hire. I didn't think he would change much about the way they played. But it turns out that Berhalter might have been essential in terms of motivating this group. And that really worries me. Or it would if I wasn't dead inside. Because you shouldn't need that external motivation to come play these games, even if they're friendlies. And it's not just Christian Pulisic, who, by the way, we have to table the Captain America nickname if he's not going to show up
100%.
for the final, official competition before the World Cup, right? He's still a great player. He's had a great career for the U.S., but he's no longer Captain America. We have to drop that. But it's like Johnny Cardoso is apparently going to move for $25 million to Atletico Madrid and was really good in Spain. And he's terrible for the U.S. national team every time. Brendan Aronson, big move to Leeds a couple years ago, promoted into the Premier League, a key part of this club. Basically didn't show up last night. Matt Turner, big move to Lyon, at fault on at least one of the goals. You could, Mark McKenzie kind of sleepwalking as well. These are guys who play in the biggest leagues for some of the biggest clubs in the world, and they don't bring it here. It's not just the guys who are missing; it's the guys who are here as well. And you can't not be concerned at this point. You just can't.
One positive, though, in this window, because a lot of players decided and asked for just a little bit of rest and recovery, which, fair enough, you do you. A lot of MLS players did get a call-up, which is amazing because you do see someone like Diego Luna, the last call-up he got, he broke his nose, and they called him, big balls or something like that, Mauricio Pochettino said. And he, for me, is someone that I'm like, I'd love to see within the squad for the U.S. men's national team, because not only what he's doing in Major League Soccer, but I feel like he adds a different bite. And when I look at any rosters and any teams that I've played on heading into a World Cup, yes, you have your 11. You kind of know who's going to be in the 11, maybe one or two on the border, depending what tactics you're having, and it switches your game plan. But you're 14 to 22 players. You want dogs. You want someone that's going to push you in training. You want someone that's going to support you. And I feel like that's Diego Luna. But some other players that did get the start last night, Arston got the start, Berhalter, Brian White, Sullivan. What did you guys make of the Major League Soccer performances in this international window?
Not great. I thought they struggled, from the standpoint. And that's where I think it's difficult, where I go back to the setup and I say, okay, well, you generally play a wing back position, or Harriel's playing more a center back, naturally a right back, but you're being asked to sit back and defend. And that's not really what those players are doing with their club team week in, week out. So it's being asked to come in and make a change. And going back to the conversation over the mentality in part, and I think a part of the reason that Diego Luna has really latched on is he's different. He's scrapping his way all the way into MLS. He didn't even have a straight ride into a first team in MLS. Yeah. He had to go play in New Mexico United and move academies and then find his way into the first team and then sit on the bench. And so then, of course, in January camp, he breaks his nose and comes in, and fans really attach themselves to that. But that's really not the profile or the trajectory of most players on this team anymore. That reminds me more of, a Clint Dempsey or some of these guys that we've had in the past, that, Eddie Johnson, guys that have really scrapped, that have had to fight their way into a first team environment, make the team. Jeff Cameron, I remember playing with him in Houston, where he got into a January camp with Klinsmann, took his spot, ran away to the World Cup, goes off to Europe. We haven't had many stories like that. And I think that's part of the positive side of the development part of players being identified early and going abroad. But Kaylin, you mentioned, going and playing for your national team being an honor. Trust me, I would have loved for a chance to go and get a first team minute. But that's not the story for Christian Pulisic. That's not the story for most of these players, where frankly, the money's over abroad. They're coming back to play for their national team. I think they do care. I have trouble saying that they don't care about the national team. They're just in a different position. And I think even Landon forgot sort of some of his backstory and his back period. And I think that's a tricky part of when you move to the media. It's easy to forget that, okay, well, you know, how it was for me or how it wasn't for me or how it might be different. And so I'm a little bit cautious about saying, okay, this group is totally done. But I do think that they don't have the same.
I think it's soft though, Kay. Like I think it's so soft, and I understand it. And like we put these players on a bubble and they make all this money in Europe. But when you play for your national team, it's not about the name on the back. It's about your crest. Like and again, I'm not American. I'm Canadian. I have 2 American boys. So I am like very 50-50 in this household. We have an American flag, an English flag, and a Canadian flag. And when Canada's playing, my 2 little boys root against me through and through. But they're watching the game last night, and my 7-year-old, he understands the game like crazy. Like and he was even saying, he's like, just looks uninspiring. And then he asked, he's like, where's Christian Pulisic? And I was like, I don't know. But I look at Canada and I look at the players that, you know, they played just as many games as Christian Pulisic, but they're still with their national team. And yes, okay, it's not a World Cup qualifier because you've already qualified for a World Cup and it's a home World Cup, which it makes it even that much more important. Like you said, Kaylin, you would have died to play on a national team to get a call up, but you would have literally probably, I'm speaking for you, giving your left leg and right knee to play in a World Cup for the U.S. men's national team. And Doyle, you could probably say the same as well. Like
I did that for MLS.
Yeah, you did that for the Dynamo, man.
But this is what I'm saying.
It's a different mentality, you know, and I think that's just the modern game in a lot of ways. What I will say is, to bring it back to Pulisic and Weston McKennie, we've seen those guys play through injuries, right? So we understand the level that they can bring. I'm mostly okay with them needing the time. Weston, obviously, in the Club World Cup as well. But, like, Yunus Musa needs time off. Like, you barely played 2,000 minutes this year.
Doyle, let me ask you then. If Milan is playing in the FIFA Club World Cup, is Christian Pulisic dressing and coming over to North America for it?
Oh, it's a fair point. No, he almost certainly is. But they're the ones who pay his salary. And that is a big difference between the U.S. national team now and the U.S. national team 10, 15 years ago. Like, I think it mattered more financially to be superb for the national team than it does for these guys now. To bring it back, just to change it a little bit, Kaylin.
Sorry, I got heated. I apologize.
You should be. But like Kaylin was talking about, Kaylin was talking about how there was like it was tough to understand how the U.S. wanted to play. And I felt the same way watching the first 15, 20 minutes. I actually thought our front 4 were pressing really well, which is what you want when you have 2 Aronson brothers in there, because all they do is press, right? So I thought the front 4 was actually pressing really well, but then there was a complete disconnect between those 4 guys and the 2 deep central midfielders, Johnny and Seb Berhalter. Like, they weren't. A couple of times I watched Brian White run his socks off trying to press the goalkeeper and then forcing a pass up the middle, and he'd turn around and kind of throw his hands in the air, because that's the exact pass that you want to force. And nobody was there to put pressure on that and create a turnover. And so that disconnect between the front 4 and the middle 2 led to just like going from high press to just retreating deep into your own end. And then what that led to was a ton of big switches, specifically left to right for Switzerland, which ended up getting Max Arston out on an island. And when you leave a guy who's more of a winger than a fullback out on an island for 40 minutes, and your other fullback is a guy who's probably second or third choice fullback for his MLS team, like, it tells me Mauricio Pochettino has maybe not been grinding film the way he should be. You know, like this, anybody who watches MLS could have told you that the U.S. was going to be vulnerable to the exact sequence of play that led to 3 of the 4 Switzerland goals. And I'm getting a little tired of that. And I think when people talk about, it was better under Berhalter or even BJ Callahan when he had things for that summer, it's decisions like that where it's like, okay, those guys really knew the player pool, and they weren't going to put players in position to fail. And what I saw last night, and what I saw at times during the Nations League, it was a bunch of our players, some of the best and some of the guys who are only fringe national team guys, put in positions to fail. And that is more worrying than any talent issue in the roster.
I agree with that, Doyle. And I'd almost never seen Arvston one-on-one like that in the box. He just doesn't end up in that spot, right? And then next thing you know, he's put in that position. And, even going back to the Berhalter side of things, and I agree with your assessment, I remember early on, he even caught a lot of flack for bringing in players that maybe weren't going to end up on the national team at the World Cup in Qatar, right? When he didn't have his full available roster, and he put them in spots where he said, okay, Will Trapp, you're going to play, you played with me, you understand the system. Paul Arriola didn't end up making the World Cup. It played, the most minutes, I believe, leading up to that in Qatar. And so he brought in some guys that then you start to bring in your players where you say, okay, actually now this position is Tyler Adams. Okay, actually this is Yunus Musa. Actually, no, this is Tim Weah. And you're at least implementing a system with clear ideas and a philosophy that you can then imprint. Now, he had to change it a little bit, tweak it as it went on, of course, and time ran out ultimately in the end on him. But right now I'm looking at Pochettino and saying, what is the idea when you bring in an Arvston? Where does that parallel lie? Or if you don't have Pulisic, what's the solution? And where's the system that you're trying to see of what is the identity of the U.S. men's national team that we're going to see a year out from the World Cup? And right now it's just more questions.
And compare it to what we saw from Canada last night, right? Because I turned off the U.S. and I started watching Canada instead. They have complete clarity of vision under Jesse Marsch. And they're not going to win every game, and they're not going to have the talent advantage in most games, really, though they probably will in the Gold Cup. But they know what their jobs are. Every player on that roster, from the starters to the last man who made the team, they are going to have complete clarity of vision. And when you have that, it makes it so much easier to execute. And that prevents the failure cascades that we have seen 4 straight games now from the U.S. national team. And we saw it clearly when the U.S. and Canada played back in March.
Yeah, I think if you look at, again, this is coming from me, if I look at the Canadian when everyone's healthy and in camp, the starting 11, especially, I will say, you guys are going to crucify me on this, but the front 5 and probably a couple in the back line, I don't know if I'm going, I'll take you in my starting 11 from the U.S. men's national team. I'm just going to throw it out there based on consistency right now. Anyways, a lot of questions.
Wait, real quick, just to that point, because we keep going back with Canada and the U.S., the case for Pulisic is actually Alphonso Davies playing in that third place match. If you're not fully ready to play and you feel that you're not healthy to go, and then you tear your ACL in a match that's frankly meaningless, that's something you go sit back with as a player. So, Kaylin, I understand the call to arms of saying, hey, we're a year away, we have to do this. But if you're not feeling up to it, I have to say, Alphonso Davies is a pretty good argument on the other side.
100%. But then don't be posting on social media that you're on vacation. Just take yourself off social media for a while. Get into the training ground. If you are injured or you do have a little bit of a knock or you need rest and recovery, just I get it. Social media plays a big thing, but just why are you posting on game day when your team is playing Switzerland? Come on,
it's messy.
Be smarter.
It's messy, and we love mess. We love mess.
God. Again, this show is all about you guys, so make sure you jump into the chat if our takes are crazy, if our takes are good. A lot of people agreeing with you, Doyle. A lot of people saying Kaylin should be the U.S. men's national team coach. Jillian Sakovic should be the assistant. That's the worst idea I think I've ever read or seen. You do not want that. No. I'm better by my pool watching the games with a little margarita in hand, so that will definitely never, ever be me.
Maybe that's the vibe the U.S. national team needs now, right?
I'll bring the vibes. That's about it. The FIFA Club World Cup, though, gentlemen, the first of its kind tournament happening here in the U.S. 32 teams, 12 different venues. Inter Miami kicking us off this weekend in the opening match. I know we've kind of dissect, will Seattle make it out of the group? Will Inter Miami be the team that goes the furthest? Will the Seattle Sounders make it out of the group of death? And LAFC, I don't know, LAFC maybe. But so Doyle, I know we haven't had you on the show when we've kind of dissected that, but if Major League Soccer do make it out of their group, or if they don't, what does this do for the landscape of MLS globally?
I mean, if they don't, right? If all 3 teams get eliminated in the group stage, I think that'll just confirm a lot of priors for people that they're, including my own, that Mm-hmm. The best MLS teams are behind the likes of not just Chelsea and Porto and obviously PSG and Atleti, but also behind Flamengo and Palmeiras and Botafogo, the best teams in Brazil. And by virtue of that, the best teams in the Americas. And just to put it into perspective, Botafogo spent $100 million on their roster last year. And then they spent $20 million more last week, right? Palmeiras did basically the same thing. Palmeiras just casually buys Facu Torres and Mikael, two of the better players in MLS this winter, spending almost $20 million on them combined. Neither is a nailed-on starter for them. So it's just a different.
Didn't we just see that with Cruz Azul?
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Coming off the bench and Bogusz.
And that's what. If MLS teams don't get out of the group, that's what is going to be confirmed. If they do get out of the group, we're all going to have to maybe reassess our priors a bit. But I'm not holding my breath for that to happen. I think all three MLS teams are prohibitive underdogs.
Doyle, I like when Doyle's like positive Doyle. The picture on the graphic when we came in with the cheeky smile, like, yes.
No, that's just to set you up. That's just to hook you. Don't fall for that.
Line and sinker, yeah. Kaylin, is there... Go on, sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you going to ask?
No, go on.
I was just going to say on that topic, I agree with Doyle's assessment. I don't think the expectation is that, MLS is going to sort of ride through the group, especially when you look at some of the clubs that you're going up against. But I think the players know that, right? There's no expectation if you're Christian Roldan he knows he doesn't play for the European champions, right? But I just remember playing against AC Milan. I played against PSG in a friendly, I guess Celtic. I'm trying to remember some of the other, Valencia. But they were all friendlies. They were just like summer friendlies that were really fun. I traded a shirt. I've got a nice little collection and, over here in the background. And
just so everybody knows, Kaylin has a lot of Nicholas Bentner stories. A lot of Nicholas Bentner stories.
That's true. Now you got me thinking. I'm remembering AC Milan coming. Ronaldinho had a night out in Chicago with us, so that was maybe not something.
This is MLS after dark.
The night out.
This is MLS
maybe
after
not something for you live on YouTube, but I think it's a chance to test yourself because regardless, the expectations are low, and so I'm saying on your day, you go out in a competitive environment where it does matter, and you're mentioning these guys, where you're the Seattle Sounders, and you gear up for this. And maybe you shock somebody. Maybe you get to test yourself against this level, or even younger players like I think of Kramaski, guys that want to go play at clubs like Porto or maybe even bigger. They get a chance to get seen. I mean, I guess it's different because Miami gets seen all over the place. And, that's, I guess, the last piece for me is Miami. I think fair or not, they are going to be the standard bearer for MLS. So there's extra pressure on this Miami project and Lionel Messi, because they're going to get everybody's best game. The same way we see it in MLS, we're going to see this across the globe where the eyes of the world are going to be on this, and they're going to go at them. And that's where I think you start to see some of these Miami players, Sergio Busquets, Mascherano, the manager, talking a little bit cautiously of saying, hey, temper expectations a little bit, because I think they know they might be in for some trouble. So I think fair or not, a lot of the sort of vision of what MLS is going to come down to how Miami performs in this tournament.
Can I say one thing, though? Can we go back to the 2022 opening match of the World Cup in Qatar when Saudi upset Argentina? Yes, Argentina did go on to win the whole thing, but anything can happen when you are in tournament phase. And I love those points because I feel like I've been an underdog on a team before, and you just view games different. Now, when we played against the U.S. women's national team, we always lost, so we'll just park that story. But I will say some positives, though, if you are going up against some big heavy hitters and some big heavy hitters. Doyle, this is why I brought you on today, all right? Because I know you love causing havoc. And Dax, we've kind of ripped his all-star team apart because I think he was playing like 2 at the back, 6 through the midfield, and 4 up top. I don't even know if that's 11 players.
Sounds like an actual lineup in the All-Star game. That's how they play.
That is true. So, Doyle, I want to go through your All-Star team because All-Star voting officially closes today. The game will be kicking off in Austin in July. Cannot wait for All-Star. It's one of my favorite things of the year. If you've never been to an MLS All-Star game, book your tickets, get on a plane, meet us in Austin. The skills challenge is probably one of my favorite. I'm still trying to get Major League Soccer to allow me to join in. Okay, crossbar challenge, I got you. And then the game is just always electric. And this year they are taking on the best Liga MX. So Doyle, without further ado, I can't wait to see this because you told us yesterday, do you want me to send it to you? And I was like, no, surprise us. Let's go. What do you got? What do we got here?
I mean, I'll walk you through it. I think Zach Steffen's been the best goalkeeper in the league this year, though obviously he's not going to start in the All-Star game because the poor guy just had to have surgery. That's why he's missing the Gold Cup as well, but he's been fantastic. Alex Freeman, no-brainer for me at right back, though shout out to Andy Nahar. Michael Boxall and Tristan Blackman at center back.
Really? Okay. No one's had Boxall in their lineup.
So here's my rationale for that, Kay. He's intrinsic to everything that Minnesota are doing this year. The way they play, they have basically three things they want to do well. Defend deep in their own box. He's excellent at that. Hit on the counter, which he's a pretty good passer. He's not great, right? He's not Tim Ream out there, but he's actually better at that initial pass than people give him credit for. And then long throws. Minnesota are amazing taking long throws this year, and he's the guy doing it. So I think he's just hugely important in a way that most center backs aren't. And then Tristan Blackman, hugely important to the best team in the league. Andrew Gutman at left back.
What?
I thought this one would... Yeah, I thought it would be kind of controversial. Go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
No. Go on. Come on. Just tell me. And then I'm gonna go off the back of it.
So it's another thing where it's like he's getting forward and providing attacking width for the second best attacking team in the league by the numbers.
Okay.
Like Chicago only behind Inter Miami in terms of goals scored, and Gutman getting forward allows Jonathan Bamba to come inside and be a 10, be a playmaker. And I think that's huge. And then I honestly flipped a coin between Seb Berhalter and Andres Kubas. At D-mid, I went with Berhalter just because. And then Evander has been excellent for Cincinnati all year. And then Diego Luna. So usually I'm against picking guys from losing teams. RSL are a losing team right now. But Luna is like the only reason that they have points this year. Pablo Mastroeni has said it. He's our best goal scorer. He's our best playmaker by far, and he's their best defender. Like everything they're trying to do, he enhances. And we saw last night, like even when things are going bad, he can add value to a team. And then the front line, Messi is obviously going to be there. Anders Dreyer at left wing, even though he's a right winger, I just think he's been fantastic for San Diego. And Brian White, I chose him over Ty Baribo. Even though Baribo's got more goals, I think White has been, more important.
Okay, I'm looking at mine right now. That's why I'm a little bit silent. My left back's very different than yours, and I think a lot of people in the chat are asking as well. Kai Wagner, why not him? Why Gutman?
I mean, I think that Wagner has been a huge part for Philly, who are atop the Eastern Conference, but I think they can survive without what he brings on the overlap. Whereas Chicago this year, when they tried to play without Gutman, they haven't had anything going forward. I don't say haven't had anything. They haven't been as dangerous going forward. And it's Bamba who's actually suffered the most. Like their best player is not as effective when Gutman isn't out there. And I think that just speaks to his ability to kind of raise the level of the players around him. Plus, I just want him to be different. I know you all had Kai Wagner in there. Time for someone else to get into the 11.
I like it. I like your Boxall shout. I do like your Boxall shout. What about Ojeda? Because I know you're a big fan of Ojeda, especially since he moved to the number 10 last year.
He was out of the lineup for 5-6 straight games, right? Like he spent part of the first half of the season as not a nailed-on starter. So as great as he's been in moments, it's not the full 90 every week that we're seeing from guys like Evander and Luna and a few of the other number 10s in the league. So, I mean, I love him. I think that he's got to be, if he is the guy who brings it the full 90 every week, then Orlando have a chance at winning trophies this year. But he really hasn't been that so far the first half of the season, even though his numbers are great.
Do you guys want to hear my front three? Oh, go on, Kaylin.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I think Doyle just, watched the Chicago mauling of DC United during the international break.
It's DC though, man. Come on, they're terrible.
Maybe a little caught up with Gutman. I mean, Chicago have conceded the fourth most goals in the Eastern Conference. So I'm all about the attack, but at some point you have to reward teams for their defensive record. Philadelphia, for me, you don't have a Philadelphia player on the 11, and with where they are in the table, top of the Eastern Conference, fighting for the Supporter Shield, one off Vancouver, somebody's got to be there. So I like Kai Wagner. I think Glesnes has a shout as well, based on his performance this season. When you think about exactly what they've had to go through, they've missed Andre Blake. Glavinovic has been hurt through stretches. They've had to push Harriel inside. They got Frankie Westfield sort of as a debutant new player, and Glesnes has been the consistent piece. Of course, the 2 6s in front help too. So I could also give a shout for Denley Jean-Jacques. So I guess I'm just making an argument for Philly, but somebody's got to be there. I'm actually okay with Brian White as the pick over Baribo, because I think he's more essential to what his team is doing, and I think it helped. But I also would put in Bouanga because it's an all-star game. I just want to see Bouanga run at people. I like Andre Stryer, but he could come off the bench for me, and I can't not pick Bouanga in an all-star team.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm one of those people that made an all-star based on like who I wanted to see in it. So my front line's White, Baribo, and Lionel Messi. So make it make sense. Let's take a look at the standings as of right now. I think we're heading into, what are we heading into? Match day 18 coming up, or 19?
Yeah, something like that.
Crazy. Currently, right now in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia, and Doyle didn't have any of those players in his 11. Zero respect for the Union, Doyle. Cincy, Miami, Nashville, Columbus through those 2nd and 6th or 5th spots. Chicago just rounding out that final playoff position. Jumping over to the Western Conference, it's no surprise the Vancouver Whitecaps sitting in top spot. San Diego, the new boys in town, Minnesota United, and your Michael Boxall, who's been leading them. Portland and Colorado just finishing off that final playoff position. So this brings me to my next point. We always talk about like the top teams in the East, the top teams in the West. And Doyle, I love your hot takes. Again, this is why we absolutely adore you on this show. Teams outside the playoff position that you expect that will jump into a playoff position. So I kind of got New York City, the Revs, Houston, Dallas. Who else would you maybe throw in that mix? Make your case. Let me rip it apart.
Houston's the one. Right, of the ones you just named, and from what I've seen, I think the Dynamo are the team that I'm highest on, because they've done a good job just hanging in games the first half of the year while they've tried to sort out their attack. And by moving Jack McGlynn up a line to become kind of a number 10, and then getting Lawrence and Ali back from that devastating ACL injury, like, they're a brand new team. They can be so good in the attack now. And I think that complements what they do with the ball and who they are defensively. And, getting a little bit more of Ezekiel Ponce and Andres Linger, the other DP that they brought in, it all seems like it's going to click. And then in the East, NYCFC is below the line technically, even though they're tied with Charlotte on points per game. I think NYCFC is a postseason team to me. But, halfway through the season, both sides have left themselves with some real work to do.
I would add one to the list. Kay, can I hop in here?
As long as you don't say Galaxy, they can hop in.
No. Although I do want to see those guys shave their heads and
same here. I'd love that.
They'll just look like Matt Doyle. He's starting the trend.
Matt, you can take them to your barber, yeah?
That's a good idea.
Matt looks like the AI version of Dax, actually, the way they mocked him up. They got to fix that. I would throw in the mix the Revs. And look, the way they started the season, they were under pressure. I remember Taylor went on a rant about the Revs at the beginning of the season, and he was spot on as far as his criticism. They had yet to score a goal through, I think, 3 or 4 matches in the season, when the only teams to do that. And they had to make a change. And that's when they shifted the system to the 3-4-1-2. They get Carlos Gil in the middle. And right now they've been 9 matches unbeaten. So that's how low they were. And they're still not in the playoff position. A lot of draws in that stretch. But I could see them jumping over the line if they can get Leo Campana healthy. That's the X factor for me, is can they add that sort of striker to really be the spear to get some goals for them, because defensively they've been really, really good. I love the wing backs with the way Feingold and Peyton Miller have emerged as two young wingers. So I like the way that Porter has this team set up, and I'd expect them to get in the playoffs and make that leap above the line in the second half of the season with a bunch of home games in New England.
A lot of people saying in the chat that McGlynn finally doing what we all knew he could. So again, if you are joining us here on This is MLS on YouTube, like, subscribe, get in the comments, tell us if we're crazy. This one I feel like could be very heated. And Doyle, I'm really not putting you on the spot today. It's just, I've missed you, all right? I feel like you just have been trying to avoid me in and around the studio. You're not coming on my show. You're only going on Jillian's shows on Friday. So I want to know your mid-season awards. We're like halfway through Major League Soccer. We know anything can happen in Major League Soccer. Try predicting it. Best of luck. Our preseason predictions are always wild. So the Landon Donovan MLS MVP, if you are saying it right here, right now, who are you going for?
I'm saying it's Brian White. And I think it's both the level at which he's played, right? He's been, I think, the best center forward in the league this year, but also the level at which the team has achieved. Right now, they're first place in the Supporters' Shield ranking and on track to set a new points per game record, which, that says they're pretty damn good. But then also controlling for the degree of difficulty. And Kay, if you had told anybody that this team would be this good without Ryan Gauld for most of the year, they'd have called you a liar. And they would have been right to say that, because nobody saw this coming. And look, everybody under Jesper Sorensen in Vancouver is playing better. But White is the guy who has held it all together and done it while they went on that big CONCACAF Champions Cup run. Ultimately fruitless, but just getting to the final and not falling apart in the league. Miami
do you think they fall apart in the league now, though, Doyle, after coming off that thrashing? No? Okay.
Nope. I think if they were gonna, I think we would have seen it this past week against a Seattle team that's prepping for the Club World Cup, and instead Vancouver won 3-0.
Doyle,
he's been awesome.
When was the last time a domestic player won the MVP in MLS?
Ooh.
I
think D-Row technically counts as a domestic, right?
He does.
So
yeah, I wasn't trying to trick you though. No, it's actually an American.
Really? What team?
Chicago Fire.
Oh, Mike McGee.
Mike McGee.
Yeah,
2013.
2013, and it was Rondo in 2012, and it was D-Row in 2011. Yeah.
And guess what? Those days I think are over. I think it's been all international for me. I would go with Evander. And I think I do have to say it is tied to the Supporters' Shield. So the way we've seen the trend go lately has been really the Supporters' Shield, the best player on the best team. I'm thinking of like Carlos Gil. I guess Hani Mukhtar would have been the exception to that rule. But for the most part, it's often been that. A Golden Boot is another pathway. That's where I think Brian White may have a shout at it, although I've picked Hugo Kuipers. So I think it's really who could get the Supporters' Shield. I still think that Cincinnati has a real shout for it. They could get better in the second half of the season, a lot of new pieces. And Evander, I think, is going to hit another level. And he'd be my pick for the MVP right now.
All right, Doyle, midfielder of the year. And I feel like because you like the Berhalter family, is it a Berhalter potentially as your number one?
So the midfielder of the year is a thing that we used to do on Extra Time back in the day, because central midfielders never get recognized for anything.
Hold on a second. Why is that, though? We do all the dirty work. We clean up the mess for the strikers. We clean up the mess for the defenders.
Number 10? Number 10? You say number 10? Is that not a midfielder?
No, that's not a midfielder. That's an attacker. I said central midfielders. Number 10s and forwards win MVPs. Kaylin's right. Central midfielders and D-mids just do all the dirty work, and they get no glory for it.
We're in the chiropractors because we're like this basically all the time, just tracking, cleaning up messes, supplying passes.
Good cardio. It's good cardio.
Yeah, we're fit. Go on, Doyle.
I mean, I do have Seb Berhalter in there. Again, the Supporters' Shield thing matters a lot to me. But in terms of a per minute effectiveness, Keaton Parks has been the best number 8 in the league. And NYCFC have been helpless without this guy. And that's, we've seen that happen a lot over the past 5 or 6 seasons. He just hasn't played enough minutes for me. Like, I refuse to vote for a guy who is on track to play under 2,000 minutes. It's why I didn't vote for Messi for MVP last year, even though he's the best player in the league. So if Keaton Park gets over 2,000 minutes, he'll have been the best central midfielder in the league this year. Shouts to Eduard Atuesta as well, because he's another guy on track for under 2,000 minutes. But if he stays healthy, he's right there in that mix.
You know who I'm loving this season is Godoy. I know you had him on your list, Doyle. I think San Diego looked like a different team without him in the middle of the pitch. I think there was the 2 games where they went back-to-back. They didn't win the game or they had back-to-back losses. He wasn't in the lineup. It's just the unselfish work that he does and the bite that he has within that team. I absolutely love him. He's probably one of my favorite midfielders this season.
He's been great. Him and Luca De La Torre together.
Yeah.
And that just speaks to how well they built that team in San Diego, man. I had my doubts about that one as well. But like the way that midfield works together with Jeppe Shirkov behind them as well, he's been fantastic.
All right, a lot of people in the comments, and I don't know what this is, and I'm assuming you two will. Anyone remember Mike McGee's day off, the Ferris Bueller video? What is it?
I do.
What is it?
You need to watch
this.
Is it
funny? Okay. Send it to me. Drop it in the chat. If anyone has it, drop it in our YouTube chat right now. I'm going to watch it as soon as we are off air because I've not seen it, and I'm a big Ferris Bueller day off galley. I love it. Let's go Defender of the Year, Doyle. Who you got Defender of the Year?
There's a number of different ways that you can go with that one, just because I don't think there's been any one outstanding guy so much better, but it does come back to Boxall for all the reasons that I listed when we were doing best 11. I just think he matters more to what Minnesota do than what Tristan Blackman does to Vancouver or what Jakob Glesnes does to Philadelphia. I think I mentioned Miles Robinson as well, because he just has to put out fires because Cincinnati haven't actually been that good. And I don't think there are a lot of center backs who could do that, but it's Boxall. He's been really good, and he's irreplaceable for that team.
All right, guys. Well, I got a little surprise for you and everyone else. So should we bring him in, the star of the show? I know you two are always my stars, Kaylin and Doyle, but this man has been... I am. I'm going to give you a little bit of recognition. This man has been unbelievable in Major League Soccer in 2025 with the Philadelphia Union. So without further ado, Jovan Lukic, thank you so much for joining us here on This is MLS. Again, I know that you're busy training, working your socks off in behind the scenes, so this does mean a lot for us. It is a live and interactive show, so we have a chat up. So if anyone has questions, throw it in the chat. I'll try to ask you as many as we can. But do you have any questions from Doyle? You probably didn't see the start of our show, but we did MLS All-Star, Best 11, and he didn't have one Philadelphia Union player in it.
Wait. Sorry.
I was shocked too.
I'm impressed about the announcement, and thank you so much for that. That's what I heard for now. But the other thing for All-Star, I didn't understood. I'm so sorry.
No. I made my All-Star team picks, right? And I didn't have any Philadelphia Union players in my best 11 for the All-Star game. So if you were making a choice, who of your teammates or yourself most deserves to start in the All-Star game for MLS next month?
I would put, without thinking at all, I would put Kai Wagner and then Taibaribo for sure.
Yes.
Those two guys I would put without thinking. So if they're not in first 11,
you have questions.
Questions. Yeah.
Right.
Jovan, I just want to say that I had both of those players in mind. Okay. I want to ask you, because a lot of people, when they do come over to Major League Soccer, whether it's from South America, whether it's from Europe, it takes them a really long time to adapt because of the travel, the short amount of turnover time with games on a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. You've almost made it seem seamless. How have you done it, and how have you adjusted to life here in Major League Soccer so quickly?
Well, I mean, I'm still, let's say, young, but I had some experience in Europe, far away from my family as well, like in other country, like in Portugal and in Austria. So for me, it doesn't matter, is it US, Portugal, Austria, is far away from my family and everything. So I think I get a little bit experience in those two countries. Then because of that, I think I adapt here so well. I mean, me as well, like I'm impressed how actually I adapt here and with the people, with the culture, with the, of course, training wise as well. And I'm just happy to be here, and I want to continue the same way, and if it's possible, even better.
Jovan, speaking of adaptation, you have a new manager, a bunch of new players who've come in, and this wasn't the first time that Philadelphia wasn't picked today. In the preseason predictions, nobody, I won't name names, had you guys really even in the playoffs for the most part. Now you're top of the Eastern Conference. What has Bradley Carnell done to get the best out of this group so quickly to exceed expectations that maybe outsiders didn't have for you?
To be honest, like that guy, like Bradley, is amazing coach. For now, he's doing like great, beautiful things. Like last week, we had like we supposed to have an easy training. I will give you a funny story right now. So we're supposed to have a easy training, like was Thursday. And he just bring us to the cargo. I don't know the name, like karting, like small cars.
Go-karting.
Yeah. He just bring us like the helmets, and he say like bus is leaving for 10 minutes. So those small details, I think affect a lot on us. And he brings a team, and I really think we are team, like friend wise and on the field, like we fight for each other, and that's the key. Sometimes we don't play like maybe the most beautiful soccer in the moment, like how it looks, but we give 100% of us, like every training, every game, and I think that's the key. And he bring that with his mentality, and he put that in our minds as well. So I think that's the key actually.
Jovan, who was the best, sorry, just quickly, who was the best at go-karting and who was the worst? Who was someone that you would never step in a car with after you've seen them on the track yesterday?
Yeah, that's a tough question. So the best one was Bedoya, Alejandro.
Okay.
He was the best. I mean, because of his
good vision. Yeah.
No, it's experience. Just trust me. The last one, I don't know who was the last one. Probably because the staff as well, like they were driving as well. So I don't know who was actually the last one, but I think nobody would like to drive with me because I was maybe the craziest one. I bump like into Bradley as well. I think Oliver car stops one time, so I don't know if they would like to go with me in the car.
Honestly, go-kart soccer is actually not a bad description sometimes of the matches at Subaru Park that I see. It's like fast and hard. And I just wanted to ask you about your partnership with Denley in the midfield, Denley Jean-Jacques, the two of you guys. And Carnell has really kind of weaponized you guys to allow you to step forward in the attack. You've each got multiple goals this season and pressing high. What's that partnership been like for you two in the midfield?
Yeah, since the first day, I mean, Denley is the guy who don't even speak like English. He's struggling with English, and he wanna learn it every day. And he have a personal like classes and everything. He don't speak like that much, but I swear since the first day, I don't even know how, and but we understand each other without even talking. And especially when I speak with him, he understand me, but he don't understand all of the people when they speak English. I don't know. I really don't know why. So we understand each other even without talking. He speak on French, and I still understand him, and I don't know how. So we have that connection, and then he just listen what I say. I listen what he say. Like we have amazing connection actually.
Jovan, how did you end up in Philadelphia? Because for folks who are watching this and don't know, you played with the Serbian youth national teams, and then you moved to one of the bigger clubs in Austria, in Lask. What ended up bringing you here? And then how much do you know about this project when you said, yeah, let's make this move?
Yeah, so I was in Serbia, and that's the last team where I was. I think we played a similar way the Bradley likes, actually, like transitions and that things, like defensively, like strong, and then like go into transitions. And I think that's the reason they look for me, and they like that about me, I guess. So probably because of that, they bring me. They told me that. So. And for me, it was a perfect move because the project of the club. I like the project of the club. Like have a lot of young players who they try to push and bring it onto big scene. I mean, I'm 23. I mean, I'm still young, not that young, like 17, 18, but still I'm young, and I think this is a great move, even for like step forward in the future. You never know, but I think it's actually a good project, like the way how the club works.
Did you
I wanna-
have any
oh.
contact with like a Georgi Petrovic or Dejan Jovalic who have come to MLS and had varying amounts of success, both in terms of winning stuff, but then also maybe going back to Europe in Georgie's case?
Yeah, with Jovalic, I don't have like any contact. I never met him like in person. I know him as a player, of course, and I as a person, I heard things because of my friends as well. But Georgi Petrovic, he's my really really good friend, and we were playing in back to Serbia. We were playing in the same team, so he's my really really good friend, and I'm asking him even like, will he come with Chelsea, because they should be here in Philadelphia. So I asked him as well, will he come? And then he was waiting for a new contract, but I think he's not gonna sign a new contract, so he's not gonna come. But with him, I'm in really good relationship.
I want to jump to our chat because a lot of fans, they're obsessed with you right now. So someone's just asked you, what's the best cheesesteak in the city? Are you into cheese? That's a sandwich, right, guys? I don't know. Is it a cheesesteak a sandwich?
It's a Philly.
Yeah, okay. There we
You
go.
have to
Sorry,
know.
I'm Canadian, so I don't know.
I'm Serbian.
Yeah, what's your experience?
You live there, though. You live there.
Come on. Yeah, for me, I tried cheesesteak in Del Rossi's, I think is the name, like pizza and cheesesteak you have there. And I think in Philly, I tried Del Rossi's, and it's unbelievable. So yeah, I love it. I'm in love with the cheesesteak.
Did you get cheese whiz on it, or did you get
Oh.
provolone?
Okay, that's the tricky question.
Too much?
Man.
Okay.
Wait. No, I just had cheese on it. I think I didn't put.
Okay. The classic Philly way is to put cheese whiz, which is processed cheese,
That
instead
makes
of
me
using
sick.
real cheese.
It's like in the bottle, right? Yeah.
That's
yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah. It's
I'll
ridiculous.
stick to my poutines up in Canada. That doesn't sound like a bit of me. All right, home or away kit? Which one's your favorite for Philly? That was another question in the chat.
To be honest, home kid.
Home. Okay.
Yeah.
And then someone else was also asking, since you signed with the Philadelphia Union, who's like your best mate within the club? Like who's someone that, yeah, okay, you get on at the training ground, but like maybe after you'll go for a beer or just like hang out.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how, but I'm good literally with everybody. But I would say Oliver Semla, the goalkeeper.
Okay.
We live in the same building, of course, and Bruno Damiani and Jan Glavinovic, Chuchu as well. So I can't like pick one, but let's say Oliver, because I spend the most time with him and go every day on a training with him. So I would say Oli.
I mean, that's the backup keeper, right? Backup keeper's got to be the best vibes guy on the roster. Everybody's best friend.
He's amazing guy. He's such a good guy. He's the example of a good person and a good guy, and a good goalkeeper as well.
What's been okay? I might put you on the hot seat. You're allowed to pass one of these questions. All right. I'm only going to give you one to pass. Best stadium in Major League Soccer to play in. You cannot say Philadelphia.
Okay, I would say Philadelphia.
You can't
again.
say Philly.
I would say first Philadelphia, but the second one I would say Orlando.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe probably because that was my first MLS game, and the crowd was amazing that game, and I felt like, wow, what is this? So I think I would say that one.
Did you score that game too?
I scored 4 goals.
You guys won 4-2. Oh, okay, but you won 4-2, so that helps. Yeah,
but I didn't score.
Okay. But, all right,
Okay,
but you've scored some nice goals this season. I've got one more. Sorry.
Caleb.
Go ahead. Okay.
No,
well,
Caleb,
I've been thinking about your goals, and you've smashed a few already. Like you can strike a ball very well, very clean. If it's just a like in training, if you guys are messing around, maybe on Semla, it's you, Ty Baribo, Quinn Sullivan, and we'll throw in a ringer here with Jacob Glesnes. Who strikes the best ball amongst that group?
Quinn, for sure. Quinn, I would say Quinn. Quinn have like crazy technique, and you don't even think like he shoot from like one step, and you don't even think like, oh, this is gonna be like slow ball, and he just smashed it. So I would say Quinn, and Jacob as well. Like Jacob is crazy guy. He like more like from the halfway, but but he can smash it. He can smash it as well.
He scored a couple of those, man. Did he show you the video? He scored one from like 40 yards a few years ago. That was insane.
I saw everything. Like that guy don't know how to score a normal goal. That's crazy.
How did you come up with, speaking of goal scoring, how did you come up with your celebration?
Yeah, I told already that, I think, but yeah, we were in a dressing room, and then I saw the carpet. Our carpet in dressing room is like the big badge of our club, like this, and it's a snake inside. It's a snake inside the badge. So I saw it, and I was like messing around with Ale Bedoya and with Oli Semle. And we were joking like, yo, when I score, I'm going to do this. And I make this like a stupid face because that's me. Yeah. And we were joking like, and they're like, no, you can't do that. That's disgusting. Yeah. And I actually did it. So, and the people like it. And now I have to do it, I guess.
Goals.
Yeah, we absolutely love you here in Major League Soccer. Honestly, your energy is infectious. Even having you here on This Is MLS, we appreciate your time, and we know again that you guys are so busy in behind the scenes. I mean, driving cars, crashing into your head coach, but we do genuinely really appreciate you, and we wish you the best of luck in the remainder of the season.
Jovan, before you go, I got one more for you because I'm a big NBA guy. So I got to ask you. Should Joker have won MVP this year?
Hey, that's a tough question, please.
I mean, come on, you're in the hot seat. You agreed.
Listen, I was fighting with everybody about that in the dressing room. I don't want to fight with you guys.
Doyle already didn't pick a Philly player for the All-Star game. So.
I know. I think we've been fighting this whole time. No,
yeah.
No, I assume for sure, guys. I would say for sure. Like, I mean, this season for him, it's unbelievable. But yeah, of course, SGA is incredible as well. Like he deserved it as well, I would say. But I think Jokic. But I would say like it's not that good to give to him like 3 times in a row. I get that. I understand that. Yeah. But still, what he did, what he do, it's unbelievable. I'm not saying that he look the way how he look on the field. It's not that pretty and beautiful, but still like statistic and then what he do on the field is crazy. So I would say yes for sure. Big yes.
How's your basketball game?
Yeah, how are you? Are you good?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm perfect. Always kept
the perfect answer.
Everything is fine.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you go. Again, thank you so much for joining us. No more hot seat questions. We appreciate your time and genuinely good luck with the remainder of the season.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And
I mean, how nice can someone be?
Great.
Are D-mids usually that nice? I thought D-mids were supposed to be scrappy, a little angry.
Well,
no, it's just like energy's infectious.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
That was really fun. He seemed really up for it. It was interesting to hear him talk about the relationship that he has with Danley because Danley doesn't yet have English and they have that on-field chemistry. And you could see it with the way they play because it's a 6-6, right? But they always know when one goes, the other stays, and they read each other. It's why they're top of the Eastern Conference right now. They make each other better. And when you have an engine room like that, even though they won't be in the MVP discussion, they're doing the dirty work, Kaylin, and that's what the people love.
I love it.
What it reminds me?
I'm calling their game. Go ahead.
No, go on. Stop saying sorry. Just go on.
I'm calling their game. First of all, I love that he called you out about not knowing what a cheesesteak is. Yeah.
Well,
so you got some homework to do.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm like a poutine girly. Like poutines nothing beats a Canadian poutine from Montreal. Like they are. I mean, what can you top? Gravy, fries, and cheese curds. Like there's nothing better than that. You said you had me at Cheese Whiz, and I nearly almost vomited. Disgusting. Gross.
These are the 2 cities I call matches in, by the way. Montreal, and I'm calling Philly this weekend, so you can see some of my options are limited.
If you had to choose between a chili steak, or is that chili cheesecake, whatever you call them, or a poutine, what would you choose?
I'm going. All due respect to Canada and the lovely people of Montreal, I have to go with the cheesesteak. when I got drafted by MLS, it was in Philly, and the draft was in Philly. I had a cheesesteak afterwards. So it was like, there's some good association there as my MLS story.
Oh, I love. Everyone's going at me in the chat. You can't get a good poutine in the U.S. Processed cheese curds. No, if you're getting processed cheese curds, you're not going to the right spot. All right, hit me up. I'll tell you exactly where you need to go in order to get the right poutine. Gentlemen, any final thoughts before we wrap this show up? This was fun.
It was. I think I need to rethink my All-Star best 11.
Yes, you do.
You've got a day.
You got a day. You can do another one, Doyle. Just use, I've already done mine. So I didn't have a goalkeeper in mind, though. How bizarre is that? I looked at it the other day. I'm like, I didn't pick a goalkeeper. I don't know why.
You need a proofreader, yeah. Kay.
Give me another attacker any day of the week. So, guys, that was it. This is MLS. Officially in the books. You can catch us every Wednesday, every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Like, comment, subscribe, get into the chat. Tell us if we're crazy. And even heading into the show, hit us up on social media. Tell us what you guys want us to dive into. We'll digest it. We'll think about it. We'll sleep on it. We're not always going to take, your topics and maybe throw them on the show because we have to listen to our producer, Tim. Tim, you are the man, and everyone behind the scenes. Thank you guys again. For myself, Kaylin Kyle, Matt Doyle, and Kaylin Carr. Thanks for tuning in. Poutines for life.
Cheesesteaks.